For most of history, Greenland was just this massive white space on the map, a quiet, icy expanse. But all of a sudden, that same piece of real estate has become one of the most critical and contested places on the entire planet. So let's get into why.
Right, so that's the big question here. Why are three global superpowers, the US, the EU, and China, all circling this giant ice sheet like sharks? The answer is not what you think, and it has huge implications for, well, everything, from your smartphone to global security. And the whole mystery, the entire reason for this sudden geopolitical scramble, it really all comes down to this one kind of chilling idea. The ice, that 2-mile thick sheet that covers 80% of the island, has been hiding something that's only just now coming to light.
Okay, so let's first dig into this superpower scramble. For decades, nobody really paid Greenland much attention. But now, the US is drafting policy that looks an awful lot like an annexation plan. The EU is pledging billions to keep it in its orbit. And China, well, China is quietly making its own place. The real question is, what do they know that the rest of us are just now figuring out? And that, of course, brings us to what's really at stake. The secret isn't on the surface, it's buried deep, deep underneath. We're going to pull back the curtain on the immense treasure that is forcing the world to completely redraw its strategic maps. Now, when you think of resources in the Arctic, yeah, your mind probably jumps straight to oil and gas, or maybe gold. But this isn't about the 20th century economy. The resource we're talking about here is the very building block of our entire 21st century high-tech world. And here's the answer. Rare earth elements. Neodymium, dysprosium, praseodymium. Yeah, they've got some pretty wild names, but trust me, without these things, the modern world just stops. They're absolutely essential for everything from green tech to our most advanced weapons. So just how big of a deal are we talking about here? Well, just one deposit in southern Greenland at a place called Tanbreez is estimated to hold 28.2 million metric tons of rare earth oxides. To put that into perspective, that's an amount that literally changes the game, capable of reshaping global supply chains almost overnight. So what does a number like that actually mean for you? Well, think about the magnets in a Tesla's electric motor, or the microprocessors inside your iPhone, or the super advanced guidance systems in an F-35 fighter jet, and yeah, even the massive servers that run our AI data centers. These aren't just gadgets, they're the pillars of our entire economy and our defense. And this is the geopolitical bombshell. See, right now, China has a stranglehold on this market. We're talking something like 70% of the global supply and processing. That gives them incredible leverage. A Western-controlled supply coming out of Greenland, it wouldn't just challenge that monopoly, it would completely shatter it. Okay, but it gets even bigger than that. We're not just talking about physical stuff anymore. This is about controlling the entire financial architecture of the next century. Specifically, it's about the future of the US dollar. Let's break this down. For the last half-century, the dollar has been king because of oil, the petrodollar system. If you wanted to buy energy anywhere in the world, you had to have US dollars. But as we move away from oil, what's going to back the dollar next? The new playbook? It's to build a rare earth dollar. The goal is to make sure every single shipment of these crucial minerals is mined, financed, and traded in dollars. That way, the dollar becomes essential for building the technology of the future. And that right there is the key. This isn't about planting a flag on some chunk of ice. It's about making sure that when Europe builds its wind turbines or when India powers up its AI industry, those supply chains are all anchored to the dollar. It's a strategic move to annex the balance sheets of the electric age. And that's the big takeaway here. The whole idea of a battlefield is changing. It's not about tanks rolling across borders anymore. It's about who controls the supply chains, the financial flows, and the fundamental building blocks of the world economy. All right, so we've talked economics. Now let's switch gears to the military side of things. Beyond the treasure under the ice, Greenland's location makes it an absolutely indispensable military fortress, the new cornerstone of American defense in the Arctic. This new reality has led to what some folks are calling the Donroe Doctrine. Basically, picture the old Monroe Doctrine from 200 years ago, but remixed for the 21st century Arctic. The message couldn't be clearer. The Arctic is a US-led defense zone, and adversaries like China and Russia are not welcome. And Greenland is the key to enforcing that policy. So what's the threat that's forcing their hand? Well, hypersonic missiles launched from Russia or China would scream right over the North Pole to reach North America. And guess what's sitting right in the middle of that flight path? Greenland. It's become the literal front line of continental defense.
Okay, so if Greenland is the new front line, what's its single biggest military advantage? It's not just about parking troops or building new airfields, though that's happening too. It's about something much, much more fundamental.
The answer is time. In missile defense, a few extra seconds, well, that's everything. That's the difference between intercepting a weapon and total catastrophe. Because of where it sits, Greenland gives the US the earliest possible warning and those priceless extra minutes to react. It's literally a countdown clock for defending North America. Okay, so for our final piece of the puzzle, let's look at the fallout. This intense American focus on Greenland is creating a massive problem. Instead of uniting the West, it's actually starting to crack the NATO alliance wide open. And you can see exactly why right here. The US is laser-focused on existential defense. They're terrified of China or Russia getting a foothold. But then you have Europe, where the main goal is sovereignty, and their biggest fear, American overreach. And poor Denmark is stuck right in the middle, worried about losing Greenland on one side and its security on the other. Everybody is pulling in a different direction. And what happens when everyone's pulling in different directions? You get a high-stakes bidding war. You've got the US on one side, basically offering a military shield and quick cash. And on the other side, you've got the EU saying, hey, we'll give you billions, but we're going to do it our way, with our rules. It's two totally competing visions for the island's future. And this, right here, really gets to the core of what modern conflict looks like. Look, the winner in the struggle for Greenland isn't going to be the one who fires the first missile. No way. It's going to be the one who signs the first mining permit. That's the real first shot. So, what this all means is we really have to change how we think about global conflict. It's not fought with tanks anymore. It's fought in contracts, in currency clauses, in legal fine print. The battle for the future is economic and legal long before it's ever military. So at the end of the day, Greenland has gone from this icy afterthought to the literal balance sheet of the future. It holds the keys to our next generation of technology, our financial system, and our military defense. It's not the battlefield itself, it's the prize. And maybe the biggest geopolitical question for the next decade is going to be a simple one. Who ends up controlling it?